My name is Dylan Collier, and I'm a traveling physical therapist best known for the New Medical Nomads podcast. I'm sitting down with TravCon speakers to give you a sneak peek into what they'll be talking about at the conference this year. My next guest is the current program director and professor for Touro University of Nevada School of Occupational Therapy program. As a practicing clinician for 25 years and 13 years being a professional educator, she possesses a wealth of physical rehabilitation experience within many areas of practice. Her research interests include using evidence support for cognitive approaches to improve motor control for adolescents diagnosed with high-functioning autism spectrum disorder. She has presented at various conferences and has lectured for PESI and the Summit Education, and we are very lucky to have her as a returning TravCon speaker. Her next session is Autism, Caring for People on the Spectrum. It is coming up September 26th through the 29th in 2021 in Las Vegas. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Robin Otty. Hello, Dr. Otty. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for hopping on.
Great. It's great to be here. I am a returning speaker to this conference. It is a favorite attending event for me, so I'm very excited coming back. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Very excited to have you back, as always. We do, for the conference, have a few very clinical oriented type conferences, and yours is definitely one of the hits. But before we kind of jump into your lecture or your presentation, how did you get really interested into the autism type of field work?
Well, firstly, autism is no longer a childhood disease. We have children who have grown up to adults with the same sort of issues. And so my interest in this area is a very personal one. I have multiple friends and family members who have children with autism spectrum disorder who are now young adults with autism disorder. So for me, it's a very personal one. And I love the fact that you can see actual changes and understand more about how they think. So using those strengths that they really do have the power to make decisions and they have the ability and what's going around them. We just have to give them the chance to be able to see that strength in themselves. So I love seeing that ability come out.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think it's such a niche kind of area to be in as well. And, as a practicing PT in like home health, I'm not seeing all those kind of autism spectrum disorders patients just yet. But as you said, this is a lifetime thing to deal with and to cope with and to manage. So eventually it will be coming down the pipeline. And we knew each other back in St. Louis. You taught at my university. And I remember you being the big research head or big like research heavy professor. And do you have anything exciting going on right now that you'd want to talk about?
Yeah, I just finished up a social vocational program for young adults with autism spectrum disorder, giving them experiences of how to develop meaningful adult-based relationships, as well as being able to navigate life after high school. So oftentimes, kids with disabilities, they may not have as prevalent disabilities that are as obvious, but they do have difficulties of being able to manage all the difficulties of obtaining a job, maintaining a job, perhaps even promoted in a job. And so I just finished up that project with an education professor. And so I'm looking to hopefully write that one up and show how these, young people, they can lead productive lives. They just need some supports and some supports as well that is very helpful for them to be successful in those productive activities, some of which might even include college as well.
Wow, that's amazing. I think there's such a stereotype around it, so I think that's really, really important. That's awesome. Well, do you have any big takeaways or any clinical pearls that you'd want to share with those who are interested in seeing your session this year at TravCon?
Yeah, share with clinicians at the conference is that you can spot subtle signs of stress, not necessarily the same signs of stress that we normally would see in neurotypical adults. And so these signs of stress can be precursor to, outbursts, screaming, maybe some self-mutilation, those types of extreme behaviors, but you can really spot, and you can even make some changes to the environment, to the healthcare environment, to lower that risk of becoming too stressed. The environment is too unpredictable for these individuals. So I really hope that people that attend my session will be able to say, oh, I spot that perhaps because they can't communicate as well, or they can't really convey their feelings of fear, that I can really help calm them before intervention takes place. And so I think that's the main takeaway, is being able to spot before they become a really big problem, and then you can't really manage care for that particular individual. So that's what I hope will come out of my so hopefully it'll be fun. We'll use some case examples as well. And, just making this a learning experience, because really we want to care for all of our adults, primarily the kids or adults with autism spectrum disorder are all very different, and they all have very different reactions to stress, but you can spot some things that they might do that can then, how can I change my approach? How can I change the environment to make it less stressful for them?
Such good tips. And for those that are interested in seeing Dr. Otty's session this year, I can say on previous sessions, it's always been a very interactive session. It's always been nothing that you can kind of sit back in the back and kind of listen. It's very engaged. It's very actionable, which is always my favorite. But if you guys are looking to hear Dr. Otty, you can catch her this September at TravCon. Always in Las Vegas, always in September. But Dr. Otty, thank you so much, and excited to see your session.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dylan.
Thanks for listening to Travel Nursing and Allied Life. You can find the full show notes below or at travcon.org. Please help us out by rating our podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a comment below or email us at podcast@travcon.org.